I like Eubank. You know, he's a friend, and also Conor. I know Conor really well as well. But I think that Eubank, in my opinion, could win that fight because it's the bigger fighter, the stronger fighter. But then it all depends on the weight as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know.
What's your natural instincts tell you? Who do you naturally think?
Eubank will win that fight, in my opinion.
How would he win?
Why and how? I think he's the bigger guy, he's the stronger guy, and he's more slicker. And I think Conor just maybe had that little bit slow footwork. What I think where Eubank will capitalise on that, and also Eubank is a lot taller and longer, so he's punching down in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're punching up, and you know, so yeah, but it'd be a good fight. Let's see.
Conor has punching power chances. Chris is the bigger guy, so you give Chris the advantage going in because he's a bigger guy. But Conor does have exceptional punching power, so it's gonna be a great fight. I think Chris should win the fight. I think Chris should outbox him, outsmart him, but he will have to be smart early because Conor is a great puncher.
It's really interesting to think, to be honest with you. I mean, Conor's going up for 2 weight divisions. He's not fought anyone like the people that Eubank Jr has fought, at his own weight, let alone 2 weights above. So it'll be very interesting. But Conor has a huge self-belief and drive, to be honest with you. A drive like his dad, the Benn family. I've never seen a family with more drive and determination. So I think everything's pointing at Chris Eubank Jr. But I think I might have a sneaky few quid on Conor, to be honest with you. His drive and his confidence and his self-belief is something that I've only ever seen in a handful of people, and he's going to need that, and I think that might be enough against Eubank.
I think it's a great fight. I would pick Benn at the minute, simply because Eubank was cracked by Liam Smith, and he was never cracked before, and it's a summary for me. He had a great chin up to then, and then he was knocked out, and it's never quite the same again. I think Benn is a more explosive fighter than Liam Smith. He's faster, he punches hard, but then good big one will always beat a good little one, all those cliches. But I just think I would give Benn the edge. But Eubank's tough.
Chris is obviously the guy who should beat him because he's a lot heavier, maybe more seasoned, but it's definitely a 50-50 fight in my eyes. I think Conor's going to beat him. So yeah, you can see where that thought process comes from. But who knows? I know Chris likes to play poker a lot, so maybe comes back for the money or something. Don't know.
Eubanks, wants to probably keep it on the outside as much as he can and use his skill sets to, use his hand speed and his ability to throw counter punches and, punches from different angles. He needs space, or space accommodates him pretty well and favors him pretty well when he has that space to do that. And I would think that Ben would like to take that space away, like to kind of work his way in and maybe go to the body like a better BF with a Bevo, take the legs away, slow him down a little bit, put the pressure on him, get to him, get into the geography that can get him as close as possible to him, to use his skill sets. It should be an interesting fight. You can make I like parts of each guy. I like the ability of Eubanks when he's right. When his focus is there, when he's right, to be able to do things in a boxing way on the outside. And I love Ben's style and his approach. I do, where being aggressive in a responsible way. In a way a fighter should be, with paying attention to, doing it with defense and responsibility of defense and, just proper way to engage somebody, but the consistent offense looking to, to engage. I think it's an interesting, and again, the thing that the flowers that come with it is the interest of the fans.
Talk about the best fight and the best. That's not the best fight and the best, but it's a fight. There's a demand for it from the public because of their history. So that's why it's selling so well and doing so much business. How do I see it playing out? I don't know if Conor can give away the weight. I don't know. I hope he can.
I just think you look at Eubank and his career and what he's done and what he's achieved, and people knack him, but he was in the World Boxing Super Series. He did Yildirim in Turkey, he fought George Groves, beat James DeGale. Yeah, he didn't have the world title. He's always, when back's against the wall, he can deliver. When you watch Conor Benn, the jury's out on Conor because we've got nothing to gauge him off. He didn't fight for a southern area, an English, a British, a European, so we don't know how he's got to perform in a 50-50 fight, in a title fight, because we have no evidence. Yeah, he's had good wins, Chris Algieri and others, but then when you look at his couple performances that he had in America lastly, that explosive Conor that we've seen wasn't really there, and I just think, well, how's that just fought in America got to be that old, wise, hard-hitting, speed of hand Chris Eubank Jr. And Conor Benn could turn it around, come out and put it on him. But you've seen in the past when people try to put it on you about that Yildirim, he irons them out, and yeah, it's a fascinating fight. I'm not keen on the hydration clause. If you've got to step up and fight the best, then you've got to go by their rules and conditions. I think that should be taken away, that, and just let the fighters fight at whatever weight they are, if that's the challenge that you stepped up to. But listen, the press conference, I'm just looking forward to fight week. I'm just praying that to bring the dad into the mix. I just can't wait for the dad to come on the stage, as Chris said today, it's not your show, and for the dad to have the sheriff's badge, do a little dance, sit there, and just everyone waiting on what Senior has to say. It will be the Chris Eubank show that week, and I hope they do, and I hope he comes, and I hope he sits ringside, and I hope he's there to support his son. I really do.
I'm going to say Eubank. I don't agree with every hydration clause, but you know, it is what it is, I suppose. So yeah, I'm going to say Eubank.
I think Chris Eubank's a bit too big, but we don't have the ins and outs of the rehydration and that sort of thing, or what weight it's at. So I think
it's £10 rehydration.
Is it £10 at 160? Yeah, so I think Chris Eubank's a little bit too big.
Weight classes do matter. I've always said I think young Ben is going to be super strong. He's coming up and he will be bull strong. To go with the aggression as well is a dangerous concoction. So, but you know, if it was all about sheer power and strength, it's only part of it. You know, there's other things involved in world level boxing. So Eubank's experienced. I think he's going to step back. He's going to try and catch him on the way in, try and cover him up, tie him up. I just think and try and get Ben into middle rounds. You know, where Ben's obviously going to be pushing it. He's got to push it. He can't stand off Eubank. He's got to bring it. But bringing it and not having success, where it's hard, you're having a hard 5 or 6 rounds, and the guy's fending you off, and he's doing all of his things, and he's a naturally bigger man, can take his toll. Can Eubanks take the ferocity of Conor Benn? We don't know. Can Conor Benn do a 12-round fight being countered every so often coming in? Is that going to have its toll? That's why it's a genuine 50-50 matchup. It's what you go for. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park for both men. They're going to be so ready for this, mentally ready as well, what's on the stage, and the hatred they've genuinely got for each other. I think that's going to lift them 50% more, better than what they've ever been. So I think we're in for a real fireworks job here.
I think Eubank will do it. I think this will be a good fight as long as it lasts, but I think Eubank will do it. I think with the experience and everything in it, to be honest, I think he's got the more experience as being professional, and since he's moved trainer, he seems to be a different fighter again.
I'm backing Conor Benn. I know Conor, spoke to him a few times, always been a top bloke to me. His dad's a top bloke, his dad's a legend, and I'll be backing him. It's going to be difficult, as he's already alluded to, the 2 weight divisions coming up, but it'll also be difficult for Eubank to stay within that hydration clause, I think it is. So it's all to play for both men.
That's the only reason why I go against Conor Benn, because of inactivity. I think he's not boxed for 15 months, and his career is staggered, and at one point I said this guy's one of the fastest improving fighters I've seen in this country. Unfortunately, his career came to a halt, the progression of career came to a halt, and I think that's the only thing I weigh against him, because Chris in his last fight, I didn't think he looked outstanding, but he's been more consistent. He's been busier. I think Chris sold the fight with the egg, regardless of what you think. Chris sold the fight, and it was like it was on every headline going. So he sold the fight regardless, and I don't knock him for it. All right, I'll probably not put hand on another man, but these two are different gravy. You know what I mean? So things that are said, that they're speaking about each other's family and things like that, and I'm like, they've crossed the line already. And I think Chris, as far as he was concerned, you know, we told everybody, you know, I've been boxing, you know, 11, 14 years or whatever, and I've always been booed in the UK, like I'm the villain and I've done nothing wrong. But then he pointed across the corner and said, this guy here, you're treating him like he's a hero, you know, and I've done nothing wrong. So I'm going to play the villain for you. And so he basically told you what he was going to do. He'll play the villain. That's why he smashed the egg, and he did it with a cool look on his face. You know what I mean? To say, oh, I'll play that game. So you listen to when they're talking, there's nothing that's held back. You think, oh, you know, they're talking about his dad, they're talking about the drug cheat, you know, all this sort of stuff. And I'm like thinking, boys, you sold it. You don't need to do anything else. This is personal. This ain't just to sell it, it's personal. Like their dads were, it's personal. And even in regards to their dads, if you give Nigel a chance to fight Chris again, he'd take it in a heartbeat right now.